Hi. It's gonna be a bit different for me because I'm not used to making one-on-one videos like this. I mean, I had a few in the past, but I deleted them because why not? Um, but I'm going to talk to you about sleep paralysis. Now, personally, I suffer from it. I wouldn't really call it a disease or whatever, but it's more of like a phenomena, I think. I don't know. But it is where you are paralyzed, obviously, because the name sleep paralysis. But it's where you're paralyzed and you can't move. It usually happens between the stages of being awake, like coming up out of a sleep, or like when you first fall asleep. It's happened to me several times. It usually happens to me maybe once a month, if I'm lucky. Um, like I say, it usually happens to me about once a month. So what happens with me, it's different for everyone. What happens with me is I sometimes I sleep on my stomach and sometimes I sleep on my back, but it usually happens when I sleep on my stomach. But what happens to me is I open my eyes and I start to freak out because I know what's happening and like I'm very aware of what is happening. Um, and so that starts to freak me out. Now, the last time it happened was whenever I lived back home. I just recently moved out with my boyfriend to West Virginia. Um, but the last time it happened was sometime last year. I want to say maybe no, it wasn't November. I don't remember when it was, but I know it was sometime last year. But what happened was I was laying on my stomach, and in my old room, my bed was up against a wall, and on the left side of me, no, I'm sorry, the right side, yeah, right side, I had my vanity, which had like a bunch of drawers and a big mirror on it. And so I remember waking up and looking over at the mirror and freaking out. I don't remember why, but the more conscious and aware I got, the more I could see this figure that was sitting on my back. And that freaked me out even more. Because as you can imagine, like you just waking up and like looking over in the mirror and seeing something on your back. I remember like trying to scream and like wake myself up thinking, what the hell is going on? Like this is weird and freaking me out. Um, so what seemed like forever, like it just dragged on and on and on of this feeling of just absolute terror and like I was scared to death. It just dragged on and on. And like I remember falling back asleep because like it doesn't seem to last that long for me, as much as other people. But like I remember it being over me falling back to sleep and me waking up the next morning, and I remember it so vividly. Like it was it was scary. Um, so yeah. Um, and I remember this happened throughout my childhood. It hasn't happened to me recently, thankfully, since I've moved. But like it's scary, like not knowing if you're awake or you're asleep, and like just that feeling of something being in the room with you is absolutely terrifying. And I hope no one has to experience that. I wouldn't even wish that on my worst enemies. Not that I have any, but I wouldn't wish that on anyone just because of how scary it is. I haven't done really that much research to try to help it, but I know that the main causes are like stress, lack of sleep, which I'm thinking I get enough sleep, but like where I work, it is rather stressful because of how much like interaction I have with people. I work at an Office Depot here in West Virginia, and we're constantly busy with people copying and printing and stuff like that. So I'm stressed, you could say. But thankfully, it hasn't happened to me yet. Um, so I don't really know what else to say, because I don't know what else to say. I mean, I've talked to other people with it, and their happenings are pretty much similar to mine, except for maybe it's not on their back or on their stomach, but maybe it's standing in the room of a corner, or the corner of a room, and like staring at someone. But there is a really good documentary on Netflix called, I think it's just called The Nightmare or something like that, that has a lot to do with sleep paralysis. I've watched it, and like I just remember thinking, "Holy crap! I know what these people are talking about. Like I know what they've been through. Like, it's absolutely terrifying." Like, I remember watching it and like just thinking, Jesus, that's happened to me. Like, I know what these people are going through. Dear God, I'm not the only one. But a few other times I remember being on my side and looking at the mirror and waking up and feeling something behind me and not being able to like turn or like roll over or anything. Like, it's scary. I don't know if you can hear that. My furnace just kicked on. Sorry. So I guess I'll keep you updated on this kind of thing. I guess, I don't know. But I just figured I'd make a video and tell you guys what's up with my life. Well, stay tuned. Bye.